Joining us this week is John Kembel, CEO and co-founder of HiveLive. John is a leader in the design thinking movement. As a repeat entrepreneur, John has been creating and bringing new products and technologies to market for more than a decade. He gained experience with startups when he co-founded DoDots, a high-profile venture-backed internet company. He has directed cutting-edge, innovative companies that provide solutions reflecting an elegant mix of sound engineering and top-notch design. He has won national and industry awards in design and frequently consults as an innovation expert for major consumer product companies nationwide. He is a consulting, associate professor, and strategic board member for the new Hasso-Plattner Institute of Design at Stanford University. John, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, HiveLive's proposition is all about building conversations and interactions with customers. How can social networks facilitate that kind of conversation differently than those we have in sort of the traditional realm? Why isn't it enough to have a website and an ad agency? So, what else do we really need? What's it adding to us here?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I might say that is the question: is how's the shape of customer engagement changing from the traditional techniques that we're using now, those that you mentioned, with those that are becoming available as part of the social shift. So I think I'll tackle that from maybe two levels. First is the dominant shift that we're all on, and as these new social technologies come into the forefront of options for marketers, is really about a shift from one-way conversations to actually two-way conversations, which are more natural. We've all gotten comfortable with thinking about the customer relationship, and the customer conversation is something that's actually company controlled, and the customer experience is something that we design and give to our customers. And that's reflected in our brochures, that's reflected on our website, it's something that's fixed, and it's something that we polish. But now that we have social networks and social software, really what's happening is, and what the opportunity is, to actually engage your customers in the two-way conversation, talk with them, listen to them. That's actually probably the most important new piece, is a listening piece. And that's actually something that companies are rapidly preparing themselves to do. So not only talk, but also to listen and close the loop. So the first change is the high-level pattern from a one-way conversation to something that's actually reciprocal and something that's co-owned with a customer. And then the next level is, well, then what are you talking about? What are you talking for? What's the conversation for? What are the business goals? And when you're talking from a customer engagement perspective, it really comes down to how you're attracting customers, how you're building customer loyalty, how you're doing your market insights and learning from your customers and designing your products, and how are you doing customer care. And then the social software allows you to do all of these things in customer-powered ways, where your customers roll up their sleeves, they join your team, and they help. So that moves beyond the website, that moves beyond the agency, and actually touches on other tools we use, like focus groups or surveys or support environments or phone calls. So it really is affecting all dimensions of customer engagement.
I think a lot of people feel like, social networking tools and some of these newer technologies used to interact with people are kind of cool things to play with on the internet. But to really build solutions for a business, there needs to be a value proposition when you're sinking resources into their development. And that's kind of what you were talking about, is what the value proposition is. But what are, on a ground level, what are the basic building blocks to some of these systems, and what does it actually take to get some of this stuff online?
Yeah, you frame the question extremely well. Really, to date, a lot of the what we've been talking about has been around technologies, a buzz around technologies, blogs, wikis, forums, social networks, feeds. I need to get this stuff and use it. But it's more important to think, to your point, about what are you using it for, how are you, what are your business goals, and what are you trying to change with it. And so you have to move off of the technology pieces, parts, up to what the business values are. And I alluded to them earlier, at least as we see them from a customer engagement point of view. The business needs, they're not new. Lead generation, loyalty, insights, and support. But we're used to using different techniques, and we're used to running our business from left to right, and we're used to having different parts of those pieces owned by different parts of our companies. A customer community allows you to do all these things in one place, again, with the help of your customers. And you actually used a word that we use a lot, the concept of building blocks. So I think what we hear a lot about when you're talking about social software platforms that are used to create these type of environments, you hear a lot of unified environments that staple together the existing tools in the Web 2.0 arsenal, blogs plus wikis plus forums. But our perspective and our experience is if you start with that, that's what you get. And you're still at the technology level. But when you start thinking about, again, those business benefits, you're thinking beyond blog, wiki, forum, and you're thinking more about, well, how do I co-design products? How do I do customer care in a peer-to-peer way? How do I sell and do prospecting, but by word of mouth, not by the traditional means that I've used? And when you start thinking in those terms and you start thinking in the types of conversations that are rich and relevant, you have to think beyond the blog, wiki, forum, and start thinking about shaping a community to create and support different activities. And that's exactly what we've designed our technology to do, is we actually back up and offer new building blocks where you can weave together any group of people with any set of information, with any user experience to support the conversations that are relevant to your business and not be locked into some generic point solutions. As for the resources required, if you start with point solutions, typically there's a lot of heavy lifting required by technology folks and developers in IT. It's costly, it's time-consuming, it's one more thing to do, it's one more thing on the plate. And from our perspective, when you bring a new type of click configurable building blocks to the table, you can focus on the more important aspects and the dimensions of community design, and then the developers within your organization can be focused not on basic technology development, but more on IT governance and control and integrating the community environment with other systems like your CRM and lead analytics systems or your single sign-on and all of that. So it actually is a more efficient use of resources if you can weave the right technologies together.
That sort of leads me into my next question. I mean, talking about weaving the technologies, what do you think if you were going to use, established networks, Facebook, Twitter, friend feed, what would the proper mix of those be? And how would you sort of compare that to going ahead and using a custom-built solution?
Yeah, we actually hear that quite a bit from customers and prospective customers that we talk to every day is after the question of, well, which social technology should I be using? The next question is, well, which networks should I be engaging, the consumer networks, and what should the mix be between something I build and something I can participate in? And I think what we recommend and what we're seeing in our successful use in our customers is not an or. It's not do I do this or do I do that. It's an and. It's a both. And the mix comes down to, well, which conversations are relevant where? So the great thing about the consumer social networks, there are a lot of people connected for social reasons and for meeting new people and for meeting friends. It's a great new place for prospecting or attracting customers or what we would call more shallow conversations, but kind of on the front end. But the types of conversations that really move your business, like getting your customers into a place where they can give you feedback on prototypes or help you design products in a co-design or crowdsource marketing materials or new types of product concepts, those types of conversations aren't relevant out there. They need to be on your turf. They need to be in an environment that you can shape and control. And so actually then integrating and offering an additional place where folks can really come in and roll up their sleeves and help you is where building your own customer community starts to play in. So I think the answer is yes, and weave them together.
One, we've kind of talked a lot about using this technology for marketing specifically. What are some of the other applications of this technology from your perspective? How can companies use these kinds of things in areas besides marketing?
Yeah, so I'd first start by saying we tend to use a very broad definition of marketing to not only include lead generation and loyalty, but also and insights, but also customer care, and that starts to bleed over to customer support and to product design and all of that. So really any point of customer engagement, whether it's sales, marketing, or support, is relevant for community. And frankly, as soon as you have your customers engaged and participating, which is step one, then most dimensions of your business just flow right in and they want to engage and connect with customers. And once you have that going, once you start to promote activity and collaboration with your customers, then more and more of your employee base will trickle in. And then what happens, and we take an outside-in approach to recommendation of social software, is you're not doing collaboration in a vacuum. You're actually working with each other inside your organization steeped in the voice of your customer. So the end game is actually to break